What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and as you see, this will be my review of Halloween Ends. I know that this is going to completely divide the fan base right down the middle. I don't see there being any middle ground with this movie. I feel that there's going to be a complete two sides to this. People that absolutely hate this movie and will continue to hate it all the way through until whenever. And then you'll have people that will defend this movie until the end as well. So where do I sit here? I'm on the, I really enjoyed this movie. It was fun. I'm probably going to defend it for what it is. But I can understand both ends of the spectrum for this movie. When it concerns the positives, all the performances in this movie were great. I really liked Laurie Strode's kind of more kind of positive kind of vibe to her. Without getting into spoilers, she comes across more human in this movie, and I really appreciated that. I think Alison's got a great character arc in this as well, and the new character Corey is one of the highlights of the movie for me in terms of his performance, and the characterization of him is just great in my opinion. This film looks really good. I think it has great cinematography in there, and I like some of the shots in this. Just looks really cool, and yeah, I just really like the look of this film overall. I just think it looks really good. I really liked the stinger at the beginning. So we have like 10 minutes and almost like a cold open. Then you have the title card stinger, and the title card stinger was really interesting. Really cool visuals, I think, in that stinger as well. This film takes big risks in going in a completely divergent direction than what we would have expected based on the last two films. Now, I am one that I really appreciated going into this movie and not knowing what to expect, and I appreciated the breath of fresh air this movie did for the Halloween franchise, and I was really on board with this movie. There is a point in this film where the film just flips and immediately goes into a direction I know for a fact people are going to be like, I'm out, fuck this movie. Or you're going to be like me, where I was just like, I'm on board with this, I'm up for this. It's got loads of characterization. It's got a great narrative in my opinion. I really did enjoy the narrative here. It kept me gripped from start to finish. And yeah, just really enjoyed myself with this one. I don't know what it is. Like I said, this is going to split the fandom in two. And I see a lot of hate online for this already, but I feel like there's loads of thematics here about evil infecting people, and the questions of like, are you born evil, or can you be manipulated by evil and then do evil things yourself? And that's a really cool dynamic for this movie, and I think it really kind of goes in a great direction to kind of discover those answers for those questions, and I really did enjoy that. It also has a really good sense of Laurie Strode's character in this. She feels more human, like I said, but there's almost this flip of the script here with her character, whereas in the last two films she was this, you know, Sarah Connor-esque, hardened, you know, fucking doomsday prepper kind of woman that was prepared to fight Michael to the end and not let Michael go. It consumed her life. In this one, you know, the town is that now, whereas Laurie Strode was that. She couldn't let Michael Myers out of her life. Now she wants to. The town is not letting her forget and not letting her move on because they are consumed by the trauma and the evil of Michael Myers. It's just so cool. It's such a cool dynamic for this film to take that kind of flip. Some people won't like this. Some people will absolutely hate this movie. I've seen people just call this the worst Halloween film ever. And I don't know if that is true, because I think this film is better than Kills in my opinion. Much better narratively, characterization wise. Yeah, just as a film, I think it's much better than Kills. But yeah, those are sort of my overall positives without going into spoilers. Let's get into my mixed aspect. I wasn't satisfied by how Corey's character arc was finalized. Now, I can't go into spoilers, of course, but I feel like there was a great kind of character arc for the Corey character. They did not stick the landing, and it pretty much makes his journey through the whole movie obsolete by the end, which is a shame. Now, another mixed aspect in this is the film not explaining things when they kind of should. I'm okay with being ambiguous and like make up your own minds on certain things, and the audience should interpret this the way they want to. Now, there are little bits in this movie where I'm just like, okay, I sort of can gather what kind of happened here, but there is not enough meat there. There's a couple of scenes in this where I feel that there should be a little more meat on the bones, a little bit more. Not, you know, an exposition dump per se. I'd rather them show than tell, but it's just not enough there. Because you go, I think this is what is meant to be implied here, but the film doesn't explain it in any way. So you're just like, I'm just going to make this up in my own head canon. This is what this bit means to me. So that bit is a bit mixed for me. They could have gone a bit better with maybe having certain scenes a bit longer to explain what is happening in those sequences. But those are my mixed aspects here. Let's move on to the negatives. Now, my negatives for this movie mostly is about the marketing and basically what they changed from what was originally planned when they were writing Kills. So the marketing is literally the final confrontation, Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers, and stuff like that. The Halloween ends and stuff like this. And I feel it's almost like a bait and switch. We do get that final battle. Don't get me wrong; it is in the movie, but I feel like the film is not exactly that. If you was expecting that, it is in the film, but I think in terms of the whole scope of the movie, it is very much a bait and switch in that regard. And I feel like a lot of fans that were awaiting that final confrontation will be sorely disappointed when they walk out of the theatre. And I feel like 2018's Halloween did that final confrontation a lot better, because remember, that was meant to be the final confrontation at the time, because they didn't plan this to be a trilogy until that movie made tons of money, and they thought, let's write 2 more movies. But yeah, so that was one big negative for me. There's a marketing really does hurt this movie, and if you're going into it expecting one thing, you're probably not going to be coming out, satisfied, in my opinion. And this film takes leaps and bounds and really ballsy decision making to make this very different from the first movie. The other negative here would be, I wish this story was all condensed into one night. 3 movies set on one night in Halloween, and I think it would have been a more focused story. This third entry in the trilogy, is final movie. It's so far apart thematically and narratively from the other 2 films that it almost feels like it shouldn't even be in the trilogy. Like, they could have gone this weird kind of what if anthology kind of story with certain characters and not interject it into Laurie Strode and Michael Myers' story. It's like they're trying to tell a completely different story than what the first two films set up, which is weird. I like I said, I like this movie. I probably like it more than most people on YouTube doing their reviews right now. But I feel like to take this ballsy kind of go in a complete fresh direction for this franchise, I think that's a great idea. I love the narrative in that here. But to do it at the end of a trilogy is baffling to me, and I think that will make people look at this trilogy like it's almost an incomplete story, because it feel like the way I did a stream on Sunday. the way I described it was like, imagine that Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills are brother and sister. But imagine Halloween Ends being the long distant cousin you never visit. That's the kind of like, you know, separate, how far apart Ends feels compared to the other two movies. And I feel like as a perspective kind of thing, I can imagine you watching these films back to back when we get those trilogy sets, I think this is going to feel a very disjointed trilogy, and that's a shame. And I feel like, you know, they should have kept it all in one night. So even though I appreciate this bold, fresh approach to this movie, and I really enjoyed myself, I feel like changing it and having this story to be the end of this trilogy is weird to me. This could have been its own really cool horror movie. It could have been its own thing, but they've tagged it onto this final chapter of this trilogy, and it just feels strange in comparison to the other two films. But overall, guys, I had a great time with this movie. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, even though, like I said, it's not perfect. It has its issues, but I really enjoyed myself. I'm really looking forward to getting the 4K and giving this a rewatch. For someone that didn't like Halloween Kills, this was a wonderful, wonderful breath of fresh air that I really enjoyed it. Anyway, that is my thoughts on Halloween Ends. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments down below. I can imagine people not liking it quite as much as I did, but I digress. Anyway, guys, as always, I'll see you next time, I suppose. Bye.